Hey everyone! So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the new S-Class toon, the Gentleman. So before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more content and information. So now when we take a look at the Gentleman as a 5-star, he has Waist Knot, which is a really effective ability, especially on red toons in my opinion, because red toons can hold splash weapons, which can spread damage to all adjacent enemies. On his rush, it's 45 AP, it's very fast, it deals 1000% damage to one enemy and then regains 100% HP when he rushes. 1000% is a huge amount of damage. Honestly, I think even as a 5-star, he could dominate old school arenas if his splash weapon went off, because his Waist Knot ability can trigger on the splash weapon as well. I think this would be an awesome toon to use as a 5-star, but he gets even better as a 6-star and as an S-Class. As a 6-star toon, his attack shoots up drastically, maxing out at 3,665 attack with pretty low HP as well as defense. But honestly, he is an attacking toon, and this is the type of toon you would run on any type of attack team, really. His rush is now 76 AP, but he can deal 1,500 damage to one enemy and still regains 100% of their max HP. I think he could be useful even as a 6-star in the S-Class era because of his huge damage output. His attack, if you had a Priya lead, would be supplemented by 50% more attack. This stat does not factor in any mods, it doesn't factor in if there is a critical hit, it doesn't factor in if there's a trade advantage, it doesn't factor in a whole number of things, like his weapon. You could have 50% attack on his weapon as well, which would actually be times 1.3, times 1.05, times 1.05, and so on. His attack power could get crazy high. And then of course there's limited time buffs as well. So if you were using Alice, for example, that's a 75% attack buff on top of his already huge attack stat and huge rush damage. The Gentleman does not come to play, he comes to destroy. And I think he looks like an awesome toon. He kind of makes me think of a consistent Riker, because Riker could always do a large amount of damage, but I always found him to be underpowered just because of how fast he would die. But because this toon has an S-Class version, it means his attack stat, HP, and defense all increase as well. So it's very easy, for example, to kind of buff this toon. So if you were using like Secretary Gao with the Gentleman, that means Secretary Gao could give him 60% of his AP on the second turn, which would allow him to rush on the second turn. And if you gave Secretary Gao that pistol that is in the weapon cache at the moment, which gives a bonus 10% defense, it would buff this toon even more so that he would be less likely to die. There's just a lot of different examples and ways to make this toon stronger, but also sturdy. So another huge advantage to the Gentleman is his active skill, which is a turn 2 active skill that can normalize an enemy for 2 turns. This is actually huge, because as we know, there's very few ways to recover from normalize, and what normalize does is that it basically neutralizes a toon specialist skill. So this works very effectively on bide toons, payback toons, command toons, outlast toons, and so on. It can shorten a match and give you a huge advantage. I'm not even sure what toon would be the best method of actually like neutralizing or mitigating the effect of the Gentleman. His attack power is just so high. Now when we take a look at his weapon, he does have a bound weapon, 30% attack, a medium bonus to AP when attacking, and when attacking, a great chance to recover from taunt and impair. His weapon will also give him the ability to gain 35% bonus HP. So I'm a little iffy on recovering from taunt and impair. That basically means Dr. Stevens, for example, if he taunts and impairs the Gentleman may be able to recover from that and you'll still be in control. But I don't like this combination very much, and I still prefer a splash weapon on him because of how high his attack power is. The downside to recovering from taunt and impair means that you can't utilize those attack up when taunted or attack up when impaired mods as often, because if you end up recovering from those abilities, then you don't get the bonus. And now when we move on to the S-Class version of a gentleman, when he's maxed, he has 6,345 attack. Again, that's excluding the weapon, that is excluding mods, it's excluding a leadership skill, it's excluding towers, it's excluding if there's a critical hit. He just has so much potential to kill. I don't even know if you can give him the name the Gentleman. It's more like the Massacre at this point. Because that 1,500% damage, it's like taking whatever his attack is and multiplying it by 15. That is a huge amount of damage. And the only other toon that I can think of that gives damage in that range is Princess. And Princess even has a weapon that will buff herself. So if someone attacks her, she has a chance of gaining extra attack, which also combos with her Berserker ability. And to add on to the Gentleman's effectiveness, because his rush allows him to recover 100% HP, this is a great counter to infection, because he will definitely be able to rush 2 times within 3 turns with a command toon. And as per usual, his active skill stays the same as an S-Class toon, which is still an amazing active skill. Unlike Princess, it only normalizes 1 enemy, but in most cases that might be enough, because if he has a splash weapon and he's doing 120% extra damage to the enemies, and say he has an attack up when impaired, an attack up when taunted, the amount of damage that he is going to be outputting is catastrophic to the other team. I can't see him working very much on defense unless maybe you pair him with Pete, and Pete has team players, so plus 15 attack and plus 35 crit chance, and even then it'll be tough to know for sure. But to anyone who has pulled the Gentleman, if you have the S-Class, max out this weapon, change it over to a 5-star weapon swap it for the splash damage weapon at 120%, stack on your attack power, and go to work. I would love to see how much damage this toon can actually do in battle. This toon to me is like a combination of Krista and Princess. While the Gentleman maxes out at about 6,300 attack, Krista is about 500 attack points lower than the Gentleman. Krista's rush, although faster than the Gentleman's, her rush is half as powerful. The Gentleman hits at 1,500% damage, while Krista's only at 750% damage. Her rush also doesn't heal herself, but applies 100% heal reduction and slow. Her active skill is pretty effective, but it's no normalize. With focus and defense down, it helps her with lining up kills. It also allows her to fight through taunt as well as confuse if she's focused, but she can still get the benefits of an attack up when taunted mod if she is focused, which is pretty interesting. She is a waste not specialist just like the Gentleman, but Krista was free to play. I have seen a lot of Kristas be super effective on offense and defense with a splash weapon, and they have the ability to take out some of the tankiest teams when they have a splash weapon of 120% damage. This is a huge upgrade from Krista, but the Gentleman does have a bound weapon, unlike Krista. When we move on to Princess, Princess has about 1,700 less attack points than the Gentleman, but her rush is closer to being on par with Krista's, because she does 1,000% damage to a line of enemies, which is very effective. She also gains some bonus HP, which is what the Gentleman's weapon does, and there's a defensive bonus. Her specialist skill allows her attack to be buffed when she's attacked, which works in perfect unison with her active skill, which taunts the enemy, normalizes them, and gives her some extra AP. Princess is one of the most effective toons in the game, so it's a little scary to me that the Gentleman is like a combination of Krista, an extremely powerful toon that has the ability to take out an offensive team when on defense with a single hit, if she has a splash weapon and is utilizing other mods, and Princess, a very controlling toon, but also super powerful. Now, moving back to the Gentleman, the only thing he's kind of lacking is the fact that he has a bound weapon. If he didn't have a bound weapon, I think people would be pulling for him left, right, and center, and it still won't surprise me if people are pulling for him right now. I personally do not have the coins to pull for him, but if I did, I would be pulling for him 100%. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching and listening to my video. I hope you enjoyed my information and my breakdown on what I like about the gentleman.